Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Racers Driving League for Season 13, round number 11 of the Championship. This is the Austrian Grand Prix here at the Red Bull Ring. We're looking forward to what should be a very exciting evening of racing, as we always get here in RDL. Last week's race, the British Grand Prix, was a very, very exciting affair indeed. Sammy Blaze, a second straight retirement in a row. The previous week due to wheel error, this time due to an error of his own. And picking up the scraps in terms of their actual unofficial race victory last week, it went to Lucky Lambert. But this week we have exciting news to tell you. The fact that the official winner has been deemed Paris T32 from last week's British Grand Prix, down to a removal of a 5-second time penalty given by the game that the stewards thought was unacceptable. So Paris is the winner from last week. He claims the points, if I'm not mistaken. And in terms of that Drivers' Championship, it's currently still Sammy Blaze who leads the way by 6 points to Landlord. Their advantage, that gap between those two in the top has remained unscathed in these last few races. But C110P fans closed in a little bit. He runs third in the championship at 98 points, so he's 23 back. So he's now within that one race victory as Blaze retired from the session here. I believe he's got a qualifying ban thanks to the incident he caused in last week's race. PJ Callett in the Haas, he's had a decent season so far, runs fourth in the championship. He'll be the one to lead us around on this lap of the Red Bull Ring, the first lap in qualifying. Qualifying's been very, very good these last few weeks. Hopefully it'll be just as exciting tonight. So here we go now, crossing the line to start the lap and up the hill towards turn 1. Decent getaway here from the Haas driver into the first corner on the soft curb a little bit there. Keep it nice and still on the exit. Don't be too careful to avoid those track limits penalties. Making his way through turn 2 now, up the hill towards turn number 3, the tightest corner on the circuit. Taking it very nicely indeed. Don't want to go too hard on the throttle on the exit, otherwise you'll spin out. DRS now deploys. He makes his way down that back straight towards turn number 4. The site of many collisions over the years in real life Formula 1. Think back to 2020, Lewis Hamilton colliding with Alex Albon for the second time in what was 3 races at that stage in Formula 1. Albon went on to retire from the Grand Prix. PJ Callett now making his way through towards the second sector split. We'll have to see what that number 99 Haas has got in its pocket. And over the split, 45.141. So not too bad a lap so far. Looking to try and finish it off here in these last 2 corners, turns 9 and 10. Keeps it on the throttle gear 6 there. Down to just over 100 miles an hour as he rounds the final corner and towards the line. 1 minute 5.1, the first lap for PJ Callett for Haas. Next car to conclude the line was one of the Mercedes cars, and this is Curtis Shepard, who got a yellow flag behind. I'm not sure who that is. I think that's one of the Alpines. Yes, it was. It was Landlord, who on his first qualifying attempt has spun out in some way. Zach Sherman goes fastest. 1 minute 5.01. Brilliant lap there from the Aston Martin. Chalov has gone second, so PJ Callett's time tumbling down the timesheets here. Curtis Shepard goes fourth. Wait now for the next car over the line. I believe that will be Ericsson, who has invalidated his time, so we'll go to the next car behind him, which to my knowledge is BJ, who won this race in Season 12. He's come off the last corner now to complete his lap over the line, and he doesn't quite make it. So second fastest on the front row for BJ Van Loosen. He invalidated his next lap. Prolol went 6th. Here comes Lycon to the line, returning on a 1-off this week. Over the line, 1 minute 6.834, 7th fastest. 4 places down on his teammate. Yellow flag set to 1, and that is the McLaren slow. JB over the line, he's gone 6th fastest, just in front of his team, about 2nd in front of his team at this point. 1 minute 5.6 compared to Curtis' 1 minute 6.5. So the numbers just swapping around at that point. From what I'm hearing in the driver's chat, I'm thinking there might be potentially some rain on the way at some point. So that's just a thought to keep in mind. Yellow flag there, it's like on slow on the right hand side. C110P fan starting his first lap. BJ will now be coming to the pits this time. One of the Alfa Romeos slow, the only Alfa Romeo on the track this weekend. Sorry, on this Monday night being Prolol, who's very nearly spun the car out. There's Lucky Lambert unavailable tonight, unsure as to where he is. Hope everything's okay for him at this moment in time. Now to spin over in turn number 6, so the exit has been between turns 6 and 7, and that was the Red Bull of Paris, last week's race winner. Who was the cause of that? He's got himself going though, from what I can tell. Not sure. There's no damage on the car as it stands. Nothing visible from here. And now into the pit lane. The end of his first run. No laps. And there goes the Mercedes team taking JB's car back into the garage. A C110P fan now comes towards the line. Goes P5. Landlord just started his lap. Of course, he's been absent for a few weeks now. Canada and Britain. He sat out of both races. And now he's back. 6 points behind his teammate in the hunt for the championship. And right now, fans on top of both Alpine cars. And Lando has a glorious opportunity here to out-qualify his teammate regardless. A car move up further the order. I believe that was Ethan. I could run that. Actually, no, thinking about it, that was Websy in the Ferrari. Still the special livery on that car. Websy goes 10th fastest and puts himself a 6th up. 6 tenths. Where did I get 6th from? The end of the first sector. Landlord coming towards the line now. Let's see what he can do. Can he go fastest? Yes, he can. The first 1 minute forward of the evening. 1 minute 4.786. A couple tenths in front of Zach Sherman, who's on his next lap, or his out lap as it stands, for his second run. Charles making his way to the end of sector number 1. Now midway through sector 2 here, going towards turn 4. Runs P4 at the moment. Currently sits tied for 8th in the championship with JB, both on 50 points apiece. With Zach Sherman and Touchby Pope both 2 points in front. It's another 9 to Lucky Lambert in 5th place. Another 8 from them to PJ Khaled. And it's a whole host of places up, a whole host of points, sorry, to C110P fan in 3rd place. So the title fight becoming somewhat of a three-way battle. C110P fan, the outsider, at this stage in the season. Out the last corner. And over the line. 1 minute 4.7. He goes fastest there. Brilliant lap. It took him a moment to realise, but he's gone the fastest there by just a couple hundredths of a second. And landed into the pits. Zach Sherman went 5 thousandths of a second up at the end of sector 1. We're hoping for an improvement by a few tenths on this lap in order to stand a chance. He's a 10th up. He needs to get a few more out of that in these last couple of quarters. Nearing the halfway point of the session now. It's under 10 minutes to go. It's through the final corner now. Comes Zach Sherman. A bit wide there at the last corner, but gets away with it. Towards the line. Just misses out. 1 minute 4, the third one of those times this evening. However, still about a tenth us off. Oh, got a yellow flag there. And that is I'm not quite sure. That maybe JB. Yes, it is. JB spins out at the exit of turn number 6. He's got the car rolling again. Making his way back to the last corners. And into the pit lane. Halfway through now. Overall, a very exciting qualifying session. I've only just noticed Alva up there in 5th place for Williams. Brilliant job from him to get himself so high up in the points. Of course, 18th in the standings as it stands. 27 points to his name. Tied with Websy, who sits down in 11th place at the moment. He's about to make his way back out into the racetrack. I've just seen his tyre gauge change. So keep an eye on Alvar here. I think he might maybe make his way back to the pits. I'm not sure. But he's backed off considerably here. Zach Sherman down into the pits, having invalidated his last run. Here's Landlord then making his way out for another run. He's got 8 minutes to do it. He just got to gain those crucial hundredths per second in order to get himself back on pole position. But Chailov has swatted this, and he's on his way back out onto the racetrack. And here's McLaren to try and trump him once again. Well, Landlord outdo the McLaren. Off the last corner, the reigning champion crosses the line to start his lap. Yellow flag. And that's Curtis Shepherd who's I think he's either slowing up on an error of some kind. I'm assuming he's slowed up. Landlord, 0.07 of a second up out of the first sector. DRS now deployed now as it makes his way towards turn 4. He's backed off. He's chosen to slow down for the Haas of Huggy Bear, who's on a lap. Keep an eye on him here. 16.6 was his first split. Yellow flag. And that's one of the Aston Martins. That's Ericsson. There's a crashed. Looks like there's a spun out Red Bull in the last corner. Hoping he can get himself going before the Haas makes his way around. It shouldn't be a problem. Huggy Bear off the last turn. Not the best of laps here from what I'm seeing. See, 1:06 for him. Only enough for 13th in the order. Iwoody just went up into 5th place there for Williams. On top of his teammate Alvaro's 8th. And we're waiting for 2 more drivers to not set to set times. One of them being Courtney Goblin. Another one being Paris T32. And the question isn't when Courtney Goblin will set a lap, but rather if. Paris T32 meanwhile on that first lap, or on a second run, sorry. First lap of his second run. He makes his way towards the sector 2 split. Let's see what he can do. 48.3, not too bad at all. Che Oliver goes fastest once again by another 10th over Landlord. And that's exactly what the McLaren driver needs. Just under 6 minutes left to go. Paris into the pits. I'm going to slow here. So, Oliver considerably further ahead now in the hunt for pole. We've got 6 cars now of all set times within that 1:04 range. Of course, now back out onto the racetrack in an attempt to beat that time once again. Unsure as what happened to him on his previous run. C110P found up there in 4th. Things are looking grim for Sully Blaze. He's still facing repercussions for the incident last week. It could be a real struggle for him in the race. Not to make up those places, but to keep the championship lead. I see no reason why he can't leave Austria second. But as for leaving with the championship lead with his teammate up in second place in qualifying and on potentially looking to take pole position, yellow flag, and that's JB retiring from the session. I think he is making his way out the pit lane and chose to retire midway through the exit, so I'm not quite sure what's happened there because the car is still rolling. Landlord now coming towards the line to start what will be one of his last few laps in this session. I'm thinking we'll be seeing these cars coming out for at least once more. He's just under 200 of a second up, which won't be enough to catch the McLaren on pole. We've got 5 cars now out on the track. Bit of a skid there through turn 5, and now he makes his way into turn 6 and goes out of it. Here's the split. Still under a 10th up. He needs those extra milliseconds in order to put himself back or onto pole position for the first time. And there's a spun out Williams there in sector 3 at turn 9. Landlord over the line and goes fastest. He really improved that last sector. 1:04.5 puts himself almost a 10th up. And that is not ideal for Salway Blaze in particular. further information about the potential rain in the race itself. I'm being told by drivers that it could be between 15 minutes and half an hour into the race when the rain starts to fall. So I'll expect it at some point around the mid-stage, around the second stint of the race itself. So it's something to look forward to. Landlord though on top for the time being. Still only a few cars out on the track. Websy a second down there. Huggy Bear, but got a quarter of a second, or just under a quarter of a second up into the out of the first sector. He's got his teammate in front of him there now. Will PJ try and give him a tow down this straight and then move aside for turn 4? Yes, he will. And has to have worked that to an absolute T here. As Huggy makes his way off of turn 4 and through turn 5. Websy slow there going towards turn 9. Into 6. Keeping it off the curbs. Now he's 3.5 tenths up. However, this will still keep him in 15th place. And he's invalidated the lap. And that will definitely keep him in 15th place. A minute and a half to go, so we've still got a bit more time to go for a run. Got a chance, one well out the tyres. Now nicely rubbered in. However, the battery's low, and that could be where he struggles a bit. So still 15th. He really did not want to invalidate there. An Alpine slow there. Oh, that's Landlord who's gone way out of the side. At the gravel, the current provisional pole sitter. As Oliver rounds the final corner now, in a desperate attempt to take pole position, but he's had to go from the lap there because he's seriously slowed off. No, never mind. That was I think that may have been a glitch of some kind. I'm not 100% sure. There's an Alfa Romeo slow there going down. Alfa Romeo and AlphaTauri going slow into turn 4. Oh, that's a good time. 600 of a second up, just under 7. Oh, and there he goes. And that'll be all that time lost. And he's now got about 40 seconds to make it round to the line to have another go, but I don't think he will. Landlord retiring. He's done what he needs to do. There's Zach Sherman making his way around for the start of the second sector. He may be one of the best shots at disrupting Landlord's push for pole position. The fans also out there on a lap as well in the AlphaTauri, as is Wardy. These guys all with each other. Kelly's got one more attempt. 10 seconds to go. And I'm thinking that Curtis will just about miss out on a last lap. I think he's got all he needs here as he rounds the last corner. Towards the line, he puts himself up into, stays P15. Right then, where is Zach Sherman? There he is. On the final corner. Towards the line, does he have enough? It goes third fastest, stays third. Wardy over the line, stays 5th. And C1 10P fans invalidated, he'll stay 4th. Has anyone got a chance of disrupting Landlord and Oliver on the front row? Harris into the pits, Webbsy into the pits, BJ there, going through turn 9. Does have enough to potentially improve on his time. P7. However, oh, there goes down for the last corner. He got out, and Prolog got out of the way there very nicely indeed. To allow Alvar through over the line, who didn't improve in the end. And we're just waiting now if Prolog gets to the line. So that just about settles it then. Salve Landlord. Put him on pole position for the Austrian Grand Prix with Che Oliver alongside. Zach Sherman home in 3rd. Got a good chance going into the race. So before we go to the brief intermission before the race itself, here's a look at your top 10. Landlord will start the race in pole position. Oliver alongside him in 2nd. Zach Sherman and C1 10P fan make up row 2. Iwardi and PJ Callan on row 3. BJ Van Leeuwen and Paris T32 in 7th and 8th. BJ, of course, winning this race last season, looking to go back to back. And Webbsy 9th, and Ethan rounds at the top 10. A double top half qualifying finish for Red Bull. So with that then, we'll be back in just a few minutes time for the start of the race itself. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the start of the season 13, round 11, Austrian Grand Prix of the Races Driving League. I'm Zach Carsey, bringing you all the action from tonight's Grand Prix. It's been a very exciting qualifying session so far. I took you through the top 10 a couple of minutes ago. It's Salve Landlord on pole position, Che Oliver alongside him on the front row. There's been a few changes in terms of rules this week. If I scroll up in for just a moment. So just a couple of changes in terms of safety car and car damage. So safety car settings have been changed from standard to reduced, so we'll have less of those. And the same thing has been done to car damage, has gone from standard to reduced. Now, I'm not sure that includes the damage rate as well, but that vote has been completed on behalf of the drivers, and they have been under the belief that this should help make the racing better. As my controller is disconnected for some weird reason, not sure as to why. I'll sort that. But I'm hoping that I'm also hoping that this will make the racing better as well. I'm thinking we'll be seeing a lot more wheel-to-wheel stuff. So good luck to everyone taking part in the race. About to get ready for the formation lap.
Formation lap gets underway then, and it's going to be interesting today to see how the dry conditions could affect the lifespan of the tyres.
So here we go then. The majority of drivers starting on those hard tyres, a few starting on the mediums, and only Paris 232 could have taken a gamble here in the Red Bull. He's gone on softs early on the start as one. So there is your starting order on the left.
As the cars make their way back to the starting grid to form up and get ready for lights out, let's hope the race ahead today is a thrilling one that will go down as a memorable Grand Prix in the history books.
We'd certainly hope so indeed. I mean, last season was definitely an exciting Austrian Grand Prix, with BJ taking the win. He rolls off from 7th today. There's Landon on pole, and he'll be attempting to try and claw back that 6-point lead that he's lost in the championship in his absence. C110P fan, 23 points off the top, and there's Salve Blaze at the back with it all to do in tonight's race if he wants to retain the championship lead. So just about ready to go here. We go to 5 red lights now for the Austrian Grand Prix. Lights out, foot to the floor, go, 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 go. Decent getaway there from Landlord, but a decent one from Oliver on the left-hand side as well as they charge towards Tunnel. Got a sprint in the back already. And that is quite honestly horrendous start for JB and Ethan. And I'm not quite sure what happened there. Che Oliver has to lead out turn 1. Landlord draws alongside and they go wheel to wheel up towards the hill. Turn number 3. It's going to be very tight. Who's going to yield? Into the corner. It's Landlord who yields there. We're already under a full safety car. And there's Websy spinning in the back. Well, well. That may have been quite an anticlimactic start. JB and Ethan out before they cross the line. Not quite sure what's happened on the start there. But regardless, both cars out. Oliver got the lead off the line. Landlord second. Zach Sherman stays strong in third. C110P fan fourth. PJ 5th, Paris 6th, Alvar 7th, Prola 8th. I'm seeing Wardy down in the chat taking responsibility for the incident. I'm not didn't quite see where he got involved. But 2 cars out of the race already. Down to just 17. There's Curtis Shepherd who's gotten a piece of that. He's coming down into the pits. Be followed by Huggy Bear. And Salve Blaze also got a piece of that. Damaged his front wing. He's gained 2 places. But he's coming in now for a front wing change. And the shadow's still there on the car. Being told no restart here because there's not enough drivers out. Only 2 drivers eliminated from that, despite the amount of damage that was given. And the safety cars have been thrown to the drivers who were impacted by that camera cover from it. So I'm not thinking it'll be too long for us to be able to go back to racing. I'm thinking we'll be potentially back to racing maybe on lap 3, potentially on lap 4. So So unfortunate start for Blaze there, who despite gaining 2 places did have to change his front wing. So I think we'll be getting back to racing on lap number 4 here. Short of a late radio message from race control telling us we're able to go green. We do have to wait for Curtis, Huggy and Blaze to get back up to the back of the pack. Well, this Austrian Grand Prix got off to an eventful start, to say the least. Very similar to how, well, to my memory, not too similar to how last year's got underway. I keep saying last year as if it was on the last game, so I'm technically right as we get lap number 3 of this race. We'll call it a race. Procession behind a safety car to start with. Essentially a safety car start, we'll call it that, 33 laps to go. Blaze and Curtis now back into the pits. Fresh set of hards got on the Mercedes, fresh set of mediums on the Alpine. And softs on Huggy Bear. So wait now just to get back to racing. In terms of the Drivers' Championship, as of right now, Landlord will walk away with the championship lead in his pocket by 12-point advantage, if my maths correct. And C110P fan gained 12 points, and this will be 110 as it stands. And we're still waiting for Curtis and Blaze to catch up at the back of the pack. So we might as well go grab one more lap before we can get back to going again. McLaren weaving all over the track here. And the safety car staying out, so we'll go for one more lap. And we're back at it. Short of somebody else pitting, which I don't think we'll have. No, everyone stays out. So we'll keep going. Again, the ominous warning of the rain that I was notified of by the drivers. My question now is, how will Charlotte handle this restart? Of course, Landlord very good on the starts. Now we just wait for the message from race control to which the safety car come in, and there it is. And Oliver backing everyone up from the start. I have to think where he's going to go. Will he go early or late? Let's wait and see. Keep an eye on that rear wing. And there's Landlord. And Oliver's got away quite well there. That's quite frankly a brilliant start from Oliver. Oh, there goes Landlord, losing it a little bit off turn 9. That's going to allow Oliver to gain even more time. He's almost a second clear by the time they cross the line to start lap number 5 of this Austrian Grand Prix. And Zach Sherman in 3rd place there, looking to get to work. Hopefully there'll be no more dramas over the course of this race. It'll be nothing but clean, hard racing all the way to the flag. Speaking of that, we're about to get some of it right here. Here comes Paris looking for 5th place off of PJ as they go up into turn 3. Up the hill into the corner. Oh, Paris a bit late on the brakes there, baby. But he's managed to get away with it. But here comes PJ with the switchback as they charge towards turn 4. And Blaze going to make a place in the back there. He's up to P14. Got a yellow flag there, and that is Courtney Goblin in the back as Paris holds on to 5th. So good show to start this one off. Now that we've actually managed to get 2 racing. It's Websy looking to try and pass Lycon, who's here on that one off. for McLaren. Oh, yellow flag. And that's Iwardy who's gone around. Iwardy, who has found himself involved in the first incident, now the cause of one of the new ones. As Oliver charges off the last corner. He had a second or so of a lead off this restart. Look at Blaze there, already up into P12 there. Landlord sets the fastest lap, 1 minute 7.883. And Blaze making places up already. Already hits the inside of Lycon there. And my question is, where did he get past Websy? Oh, Lycon way wide there off the exit. It gives up the place to Websy in 12th. Curtis run onto the grass though, but there he goes side by side with Huggy. They're quite far apart. Will come wheel to wheel again for turn 3. The soft-tired Haas versus the hard-tired Mercedes. Who'll come out on top? It'll be Curtis for the minute. Lap 7. The next lap will be DRS enabled. And Landlord closing in. It gaps down to 6/10. Been gaining brilliantly on the McLaren in front since losing the lead of the line. Paris there in 5th place. Those soft tyres perhaps not working to the effect he would have liked so far. He's setting fast times in terms of those purple sectors on the track map. Not enough for the fastest lap for the moment. C110P fan still there in 4th on those mediums. Off the last corner here, Zach Sherman 8/10 behind Landlord. We're looking to haul himself into striking distance as Paris T32 setting there the fastest lap. DRS is deployed and Blaze now sets it as well. And DRS deployed for the first time in this race, which will make passing easier for Blaze. In that Alpine, while the other Alpine potentially looks for a move, trying to line something up, set up for turn 4. Got a bit wide there, perhaps not onto the curbs you'd have liked. Oliver getting away as they charge towards turn 4 though. He's not getting away anymore. Here comes Landlord, going to look to the inside. The championship leader, the former championship leader, the reigning champion, to the inside. Well, needs to take back the race lead, and he's got it. Landlord, the pole sitter, now back up into the lead here in Austria. That little scuffle has allowed Zach Sherman to close back in. So a race for 3rd, or race at least in the top 3, could start to come into play. Blaze about a second or so behind Ericsson here, but he's holding himself just about back into his DRS range. And that'll be his cue to really get to work and start helping, or start getting himself closer to the leaders. His 2 championship chasers, both in the top 4 right now. And there's that long train. Huggy Bear with a 3-second time penalty already for multiple warnings. That'll be for track limits, and around he goes! Part of the front wing off of that Haas machine. And that's frustrating for him. He's lost an end plate and has to crawl all the way back round for another lap before he can get into the pit lane. Connie Goblin passing Lycon, who's just spun out as well. Turn 1 in this game, definitely a danger spot. Oliver is not giving up the chase to try and get the lead back. So this could be a very entertaining battle for first place. Paris, half a second back. In terms of that fastest lap, does he still have it at the moment? No. Oh, and it belongs to Blaze, and there goes Paris, skidding off onto the grass. He's going to get himself turned around here. Alvar gets the second penalty of the night. That's 3 seconds, multiple warnings. Oh, and there it goes again. Those soft tyres cold. Perhaps a bit more worn than he would have liked. Have to be careful here for Lycon coming through. He'll be on that racing line. And move over to the side to allow the McLaren through and get back on the throttle. Get moving again. Selby Blaze now looking to the inside of Ericsson's. Turn 1 goes very late on the brakes and gets the job done. Gets the power down. And just in front of them, Alvar and Prolog going side by side. The Williams ducks back in line there behind the Alfa Romeo and the Alpha Tauri of BJ could try and get involved as well if he wants to. He's very late on the brakes and was very close to hitting the back of the Williams, which could allow the Alpines to close back in. The championship leader on the ERS and the DRS here as they charge towards turn 4. He's going to look to the outside and he should get the job done into the corner unless BJ can hold on and he can't. Blaze a bit wide through turn 4, but up into P4, sorry, up into P8 regardless. Alvar still chasing Prololo, who's chasing PJ. Oh, PJ a bit squirrely there through turn number 6. They charge through 7. And now through 8. It's a 4-way train here in the race for the top spot. All of them have DRS range of each other, separated by just under 2 seconds as it stands. Zach Sherman doing his best to try and keep in play here as Blaze sets the fastest lap. I have no doubt he try and line up a move on Alvar here as we begin lap number 10 of this Grand Prix. It's flying by, this is. Absolutely spectacular race so far. Prolol and PJ looking at it. Going to turn 3 up the hill. Blaze looking late on the brakes. Alvar went a bit wide there. Blaze didn't give him all the room in the world leaving it, but he gave him enough for him to actually get back onto the track. No DRS for either Prolol or PJ. But it's DRS for Blaze. He might try and go for a late move into the corner. No point in trying that. I'll give you the 3-second penalty here for multiple warnings. Making their way now back through turn 6 and now through 7. Blaze up into P7, but he's still got a long way to go to challenge the leaders. That train about 3.3 seconds in front of Prolol, who commands 5th as it stands. It's a large train there from P5 to around P11. DRS train absolutely lethal in Austria. And Blaze already lined up a move, potentially, on PJ. We're using his battery, still got a decent amount left. PJ's got almost half his left, he's not even using it, and that's what's allowing the Alpine to close in on the run to turn number 3. He's gone around the outside this time, can he pull it off? Yes he can! Gets traction around the outside, and that puts Blaze up into P6. He's had a brilliant opening 11 laps to this Grand Prix. Of course, the front wing change on the opening lap wasn't what he would have wanted. And definitely, although that also came with the decision to be able to pit again. And now that will have those 1 lap fresher tyres and everyone else. Curtis passes Cottony for position 12. This battle's brewing on here. Keep an eye on these two going side by side now into turn 6. One of these two is going to have to yield. No one yields, and there goes Curtis. And that is the answer to why you can't go side by side into turn 6. Is someone's going to come off worse. Landlord, the race leader, sets the fastest lap. But Che Oliver still keeping with him within that DRS range. Zach Sherman now falling away. And he could fall prey to C110P fan Neil Fatari. On the run up to turn 3. He's closing in. Does he have enough time to go for a move? I think he's going to try and make it. Nope. He's looking at it. Blaze just closing on Prolol here as they round turn 3 again. Yellow flag. And that is the Mercedes of Curtis Shepard, who spun it again in the final corner. It's been a nightmare lap for the Mercedes driver. As Huggy Bear comes into the pits. He's got a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Oliver now really closing in. The gap now down to half second. A C110P fan passing around the outside of Zach Sherman out of turn 6 there. So maybe he can go side by side through turn 6. That's brilliant racing if you manage to pull that off. Blaze, we missed it unfortunately, but he's up into 5th place now. 2.5 second gap to close down the leaders. Yellow flag. And that is the Alfa Romeo of Prolol has gone around. He's coming into the pits. Oh, no, he's staying out. No, I think he's just realised he's lost an end plate. And he comes down into the pit lane. It took a moment for him to realise. And he's got a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. BJ onto a set of soft tyres here and a front wing change as well. So I guess he's been caught up in something. Prolol also front wing change for him. Oh, excuse me. Unsure as to Mjolnir. This is a brilliant race. But Chalova still there within a half-second gap, and BJ's now out of the race. What's happened to him here? It looks like he's crashed it on the exit of turn 1. The safety car comes out. And I wouldn't have thought the safety car had been brought out for this. But this is just what Landlord and Oliver were needing. And it looked like this would probably be what Fan and Blaze were also needing. So here we go now. The 3 titles runners all up there in the top 5. And we all bunched up now for the restart. I'd be able to see what Blaze can do against these guys who have been looking to dismantle him in the championship lead. Landlord onto mediums. Oliver onto mediums. Blaze now onto a fresh set of hard tyres. But yeah, not something I would have expected to bring out a safety car here, considering it's on reduced this week. But I wouldn't be surprised if the game hasn't updated it. Alvar stayed out on those hard tyres, and it's supposed to allow him to keep the to take the lead. So a questionable decision, at least for me, for Alvar. I'm sure he had his reasons, so we'll give him the benefit of the doubt there. So let's just have to see if it pays off. Blaze here on those hard tyres. What's the plan there? C110P fan also on hard tyres, but Landlord on the mediums. So it looks like he might be trying to extend the lead of some kind. We'll have to see how long he can take those tyres. There's no way he's taking them 20 laps. I assume we'll probably get going around lap 16 or 17. This means 16 at a push. I'm thinking 17. Yeah, we're not quite sure what's happened to BJ. Hopefully he'll give us a response of some kind down in the Discord chat as to what went on. It could have been something similar to Blaze in Canada. Came out the pit lane and the wheel, is it a wheelman? It was like a gamepad controller malfunction of some kind. I'm not sure if he raced a wheel. I'm assuming he does race on a wheel. But unfortunately, the driver who won this race last season won't be winning it this season, which is unfortunate. It's always good to see a BJ victory in an impartial sense. It's good to see any driver win. Alvar though up there in the lead. Yeah, he should. Yeah, he's yet to make his one mandatory pit stop that he needs, so he'll need to come in at some point. Well, we're just waiting for 4 more cars to close up to the back of the pack and move back to racing again. So yeah, now we're just waiting for those, like I say, waiting for those last few cars to join up at the back of the pack. Those drivers being Curtis, Lycon, Paris, and Huggy. Of course, Paris was run up there in the top 5 earlier before spinning out of this on this very straight here. So it's unfortunate for him. We'll have to see what goes down. Solano in net first place is down as Courtney Goblin heads into the pit lane now. Making a change onto a set of soft tyres here. So I'm thinking it'll be pitting again. Perhaps he's banking on there being another safety car. Because everyone should be at the back of the pack at this point. The line should be completed by the end of this lap. We'll be able to get back to racing again. But a fresh set of softs for Courtney Goblin. That, for me, isn't really not too confusing. I can see what I think he's going to do. I feel like he'll be pitting one more time, as will Alvar. Alvar will pit for the first time in this race. But should be a very exciting affair here as the safety car gets announced to be coming in this lap. Should be exciting to no end here. Wheel-to-wheel racing as we've needed as we've seen in these last few weeks. After a safety car. And a driver on very worn tyres, which probably only have a few more laps in them. In Alvar. Probably leading us away for this restart. And he'll have to nail this if he wants any chance of holding the lead. And keeping both Lando and Oliver behind, who have been the standout drivers over the course of this one. In terms of raw pace. He's got going for the last corner, not quite how he would have liked it. The one Haas definitely didn't help as Huggy ran into the pit lane. And I'm thinking he might be calling it a day here. I'm not sure. He's got quite a few penalties. Regardless, up front though, Landlord giving chase. Hasn't taken the lead yet. Blade unable to get to work. He's had a poor restart by comparison. A half second behind Zach Sherman right now. Landlord will be looking to take the lead as soon as he can in order to avoid having to battle Oliver. I saw him looking there, considering a move to the inside. He can't make any mistakes in getting past this Williams. I'll go for it where it's safe, and that might be down the main straight on the start of the next lap. Alvar, though, leading the way. But for how much longer? Looking to get a good exit out of turn 10 here. And that's just what he's got. He's closing on the Williams a bit. But the McLaren is right there with him. Cherlover sets the fastest lap. Best Lando looks to the inside, and Lando retakes the lead. Alvar's gone wide, and as a result, Oliver's right with him here. So the battle resumes again. There goes Fan looking to the left-hand side, up into 3. Oliver looks to the outside, looking for the lead through turn 3. And Zach Shell looking to get involved, trying to get around Fan. Or getting around Alvar at the same time. This allowed Blaze to close back in a little bit. Nice little train forming here. Oliver all over the back of Landlord here. Fan and Zach Sherman side by side on the exit of turn number 4. Through 5 and now charging towards 6. Fan yields. Blaze still stuck behind Alvar. He's going to look to the inside. That was very, very tight. Gets Alvar nice and clean. He's up into P5 now. So now the hunt begins. Can he chase down the leaders? And I'm wondering when Alvar will come into the pit lane here. So this stage he might just be holding up drivers. Over the line to get up number 19 of this race. And DRS now deployed. This is where it gets interesting. As PJ passes Alvar. And Websy lines to get around him as well. There goes Ericsson to his outside. He's getting very tasty in the midfield here. Yellow flag behind him as Lycon has gone around. Alvar repassing Websy. But going wide, and that could allow the Ferrari to hit the spot back. Lycon's going to going again. Woody up into the points now, challenging Prolo. They go side by side towards turn 4. Websy and Ericsson also side by side into that right-hander. It's the Aston Martin of Ericsson who has the edge, and he's on the inside of Alvar as a result as they go through 5. He's going to charge around the high side. Go side by side through turn 6. And both getting away okay. Alvar unable to squeeze him out. It's like Blaze did to him a lap ago. Alvar, I'll take back what I said, he was holding his own on those very worn, hard tyres, but had to find his way into the pit lane at some point as Landlord sets the fastest lap of the race. We begin lap number 20 now, just 17 laps to go in this race. And the duel resumes here. Oliver and Landlord, it's raced on the entire race. Been absolutely brilliant so far. Connie Goblin trying to make up places here on those soft tyres. He's getting right to work. He's made up a few already. Blaze now up into P4. He's just managed to get past C1 and P-Fan. Now he starts chasing, trying to close that 1.5 second gap to Zach Sherman in front of him. Prolol side by side with Alvar as they enter turn 4. Oh, a bit of contact there. He almost lost it. Zach Sherman with a 3-second time penalty now. And that will not help his cause. That, and the fact that Blaze is closing in on him. There won't be enough on DRS for the DRS on this occasion. Landlord once again with the fastest lap. He's pulled himself out of DRS range. And that is crucially important at this stage. Fan on the DRS. Blaze not quite there yet. Zach Sherman's used a considerable amount of his DRS, and he's got a penalty as well. So that'll officially move Blaze up into 3rd place. Fan with the DRS deployed, trying to close back in. Blaze, all he needs is to get himself within that 1 second gap, and he's very close to doing it. He's into it for brief moments. There he goes. Just over 9 tenths behind. And that should be DRS through the detection zone. Yes, it is. You're kidding me. I've muted myself again. Well, that's annoying. I've done it for the second week in a row. I can't stop myself doing it. I need to find a button that I'm not using at any point. This is a real struggle for me, you lot. Well, thank you to Pope for pointing it out. This week it's Pope who does the honorary job of pointing out my commentary flaws, so that's always lovely to see. But it's good that he's done that, because otherwise I would never have known. I would never have realised. I think I may have touched the button by accident. I can't think it's been for very long. So apologies for that, everyone. If someone can let me know down in the chat how long I was out for, then that'd be appreciated. Just so I know. Because I wouldn't like it for me to be muted for quite a while. I think it's only been for a few moments. I'm not sure. I'm trying to think. Which gives me something to do under the safety car when everyone comes to the pits. Landlord Oliver, Blaze, Fan, Prolol, Websy, all staying out. PJ also he hasn't stayed out, but he's been put back onto worn hards. Am I wrong there? Regardless, 10 laps to go at this point. We're under our third safety car of the night. It's Landlord who leads, as he has been since he took the lead back from Oliver in the very early laps of this race. I would even 3-second time penalty there. In terms of the penalties, there's a lot of them. Prolol has 5 seconds, Zach Sherman has 3, Alvar has 3, Iwadi has 6, Curtis and Paris both have 3, Ericsson has 6 now, Lycon has 6, Cockney Goblin has 3, and Huggy Bear has 9. Sorry, I'd like to go on hand and once again apologise for being muted there. I'm hoping I wasn't out for very long. I've been told that I've been muted for around 5 laps, so apologies for that. Like I said, I need to find the button that I'm not using at any point throughout this whole thing. I think I have to switch this hotkey to the backspace button because I'm really not going to, because obviously this isn't going to have to be a week-on-week occurrence. I'm going to have to fix this at some point. I have to find a hotkey that I'm not using for anything. I think it would be backspace from now on. Regardless though, all the action has been going by in the opening 27 laps of this race. We've got just 9 to go. We'll be getting back to racing, I assume, on lap 29 now that everyone's at the back of the pack, unless somebody pits again. Ericsson classed as 15th place, but behind Huggy Bear. To my knowledge, he's not a lap behind, as Ericsson now comes to the pits. And this could be a last minute change into another set of softs, which I think it will be. Yes, it is. Another set of softs going on the Aston Martin. There it is. So, 7 drivers now on fresh, or somewhat fresh softs for this restart. Ericsson has his freshest. Zach Sherman, the highest running driver on softs as it stands. So we're looking to go again. There we go, safety car in this lap. Landlord shows the way. Oliver, second. Blaze in third. I'm not thinking that any of those tyres can really hold out all the way to the end, short of some brilliant management in these final 8 laps. And I'm thinking that Huggy might actually be a lap down because he sent a rather hilarious message down in the chat. Michael Mazzi engaged, car 25 can unlap itself. Unfortunately not. But Huggy will do his utmost to keep himself amongst the pack if he can, without seeing too much of a disruption to the action, which will be up front here as Landlord gets away brilliantly for the restart now. 8 more laps to go, both Alpines in the top 3. Landlord's making a toe over to the right to start the lap. He's got half a second already on Oliver as they charge up towards that first corner. Blaze looking to get right to work here. This is the closest he's been to the leaders all day. And a mistake from Landlord could really put him in a position to potentially even go as far as winning this race, going from last to first. But Oliver being the main contender to try and stop the other Alpine, as he has been throughout this race. Already passing Caleb or PJ Caleb. They're going side by side, and there goes, and they're three abreast now. They've got car ground in the back, and that's Lycon is gone. Lycon crashing. Oh, there's a huge crash in the back. What on earth has happened there? The craziness continues at this Austrian Grand Prix. Curtis, Warney, Paris, Lycon, all out of the race. And weirdly, no safety car. What on earth are the safety car rules on reduced? I'm thinking this has to be a glitch, because there's no way that... Oh, there we go, never mind. The game's heard me ranting. Safety car are deployed. And that was quite honestly bananas. Alvar, 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Couple of cars into the pits on those worn hard tyres. The top four all choosing to stay out. What has been going on? Absolute chaos here. Completely unsure as to what happened. But the safety car now out. And we saw them going three abreast for a moment. And I start to wonder how many cars I've left to talk about at the end of this Grand Prix. Of our full-time drivers, just 10 of them are currently in the running order. As to my knowledge, I'm unsure as to who's reserve and who's not. I know that Prolol is a reserve. I'm unsure as to who the other one is. I believe it's Ericsson. I'm not sure. Because I believe he was a reserve previously, and he's got a seat now, Alfa Romeo. Huggy Bear. Huggy's the reserve. There we go. See, I told you, I'll figure these things out. But 5 more laps to go in this Grand Prix. Prolol back into the pits. Another set of soft tyres gone on the car. He's away. Down to P10 now. But yeah, no idea what has happened or no idea how it happened. More to the point, to bring out the safety car. And I was genuinely shocked for a minute, thinking that it wasn't actually going to go ahead. That we would see no safety car in an instant like that. But I'm thinking there may be something wrong with this, because there's been a lot of instances tonight. Either it's down to driving standard or the safety car settings. I'm not 100% sure, because to my knowledge they were changed to reduced, thanks to the vote. However, it's not really my place to comment here or there. But it's looking like we'll have a mad 4-lap dash to the end. Or mad is hopefully the last thing we want to see here. It's been a bit of a crazy one in terms of instance here. Just 12 cars remaining. Prolon and Huggy, the 2 reserves. Landlord, Oliver, Blaze, Fan, Zach, Cottony, Alvar, Websy, PJ, and Ericsson, the full-time drivers. We can go on lap 33, short of any changes. So then, Curtis, Wardy, Paris, Lycon, BJ, JB, and Ethan all out. And how is this going to work? Our top 4, arguably the 4 fastest drivers on the track throughout the day, now on very worn medium and hard tyres, and the rest of the pack on softs behind them that have barely turned a lap. So how will this play out? Because these guys are all going to be on a charge to the end, and it'll be down to Landlord, Oliver, Blaze, and Fan to make the best of these situations. I'm not sure what things are like in terms of tyre wear as a safety car gets called in. So here we go then. A 4-lap dash to finish to complete the Austrian Grand Prix. Oliver, since losing the lead from Landlord, has been chasing him for ever since the early laps of this race. Landlord has a chance to finish the job if he can hold on for just 4 more laps. And Fan back there, if something was to happen to both Alpines, and if he was to win, that would surprisingly be the lead of the championship for Fan. So it can happen. 4 laps to go. Who will leave Austria with the championship lead? Landlord waiting. Green flag goes back in the air. And that's a chaos. I saw a car on the grass. That was Prolog up and towards turn 1. Zach Sherman getting in front of him. There goes Courtney Goldman to the inside. Prolog goes way wide off the corner. Rejoins in front of Websey, who really had to avoid him there. Prolog, 5-second penalty for ignoring yellow flag. Same for Zach Sherman as well. Blaze holding on to third. It's nice and consistent at the start. We'll have DRS on lap 35-36. There's another yellow behind, and that's Prolog on Websey. Excuse me. Green flag's now back out on the track. Gap staying consistent here. There goes Zach Sherman to the inside of C110P Fan. He gets the job done through turn 6. That Alpine has been incredulously quick for both cars this evening. And all he's got to do is hold out for just 3 more laps for a double podium and perhaps an even stronger hold on the Constructors' Championship lead than they had before. In terms of that Constructors, they've led it by so much this season. To my knowledge, they're 91 points clear in the standings of AlphaTauri, and that could change again. That gap will increase tonight to over 100 points. The gap's closed a little bit over recent weeks thanks to the absence of Landlord and the retirements of Blaze. But they're going to get it back over the 100-point mark again. And it could be a 1-2 here, unless Chayalova wants to spoil the party. Yellow flag. Oh, and there's a big crash there. Alvar was involved there. I saw Ericsson maybe get a piece of that. Prolog around as well. Landlord still showing the way here. Zach Sherman on those soft tyres, which has turned 8 laps so far. However, a decent number of those laps have been on the safety car. So I assume those softs have still got a bit of life left in them. However, he's got to pass 3 cars in 2 laps. Plus a penalty, so his chance of winning are looking very slim indeed. Yellow flag next 2, and that's Huggy Bear who's gone off the track. Excuse me, that's PJ Callard who's gone off the track. He's lost his front wing by the looks of things from what I can see. Am I seeing things? No, I'm not. He's lost his front wing. 2 laps to go now. DRS now deployed. The top 6 in a train here. Connie Goblin up there in 6th place doing an incredible job. And this is where things get crazy. DRS now deployed. Landlord's got a decent amount of his battery saved, and that will really help his case. Zach Sherman's used almost all of those soft tyres. Perhaps not as good as they used to be. He's gone very deep on the inside and there's contact. And that may have ruined the chances of both Blaze and Sherman in the process. Because Blaze now a second out of DRS range. And that was a very reckless move on Zach Sherman's behalf, at least from my perspective. And it means we could be left to a one-on-one here. One more lap to go when they cross the line. Blaze back within DRS range. He's really pushing that Alpine to the limit. Look at him gaining back those tenths very quickly indeed. He's already within 3/4 of a second. Trail of a half second back. He's going to all come down to potentially the race towards turn 4. 1 lap to go. Back up to turn 1. Landlord's driven brilliantly on his return to the RDL. It's been out for 2 weeks, but you wouldn't know it. He's been doing brilliantly all day. Back up the hill to turn 3. Oliver's got to do well here in order to step and drive towards turn 4. He has to go very late on the brakes, and he keeps it in check. Just behind the Alpine here. But Landlord's got a decent amount of his DRS saved up. Sorry, his ERS. And even with the drag reduction system on the back of the McLaren, that might just be the race. Short of any mistakes from Landlord here. Blaze there in 3rd. He'll be losing the championship lead unless Oliver can do something about it in this final corners. Through turn 8 for the final time. Just 2 corners from home now. From the checkered flag. And victory for Landlord. 2 weeks out. Blaze fails to take advantage. Landlord returns. And he returns to not only the RDL, but the top step of the podium here as he wins in Austria. The top 3 covered only but less than a second over the line. Fan Home in 4th. Courtney Goblin 5th. Zach Sherman 6th. That could change here. Ericsson 7th. Webbsy 8th. Prodol 9th. And PJ Khaled with I'm not mistaken, that is he still got that broken front wing on? Yes, he has. He crosses to take the final point here. Broken front wing on the car. After a brilliant and chaotic race indeed, Landlord emerges on top in this spectacular one-on-one with Sin. Between Landlord and Oliver throughout this, both qualifying and the race. And it's Landlord who comes out on top. Blaze home in 3rd. He'll be no doubt dissatisfied. Losing the championship lead today. But GG's incredible stuff to all 3 drivers. Blaze, who despite losing the championship lead, did so well today. So to turn things around from that qualifying ban and come home from 3rd. But there is your winner then. Landlord on top. The winner here in Austria. Great effort from everyone in the race today. Unfortunately, not the cleanest race of Sin. But hopefully, next week, things will be a little bit tidier. Next week's race in France, the French Grand Prix. Another race in which, I'm not mistaken, Landlord took victory, so it'll be a good race for him to return to. But he wins today. Oliver second, Subway Blaze third. The top 3 covered by just under a second there at the end of the race. Brilliant stuff. 3 stops for Blaze. He managed to pull it off. 5 stops for a number of cars. 2 of them in the top 10. Courtney Goblin and Ericsson making the 5-stop work. But a brilliant Grand Prix all around. There's your final top 10. Landlord wins the race. Oliver second. Blaze third. Fan 4th. Courtney Goblin 5th. Zach Sherman 6th in the end. Ericsson 7th. Webbsy 8th. Prolon 9th. And PJ Khaled in 10th. It's Alvar in 11th and Huggy 12th. Both of them finishing a lap behind, if I'm not mistaken. Curtis, Wardy, Paris, Lycon, BJ, JB and Ethan all failing to finish. So that's the end of a very chaotic Austrian Grand Prix. I do hope you've enjoyed it. I most certainly have. We're back here next week, same time, for the French Grand Prix, round number 12 of the championship on the 3rd of October. So look forward to that. Until next time, you guys, I've been Zach RC. Hope you enjoy the next race. Be sure to subscribe for more RDL action. Until then, goodbye.